Max, where is it, man? The game's been out for 2 months.
What do you mean, where is it?
What do you mean what I'm talking about? Xenoblade Chronicles 3 has come out. It's been out for almost 2 months now, and you've done nothing. Your name is Monado Max. You realize the word Monado is from a video game called Xenoblade Chronicles, right? The thing that your channel is based off, the name.
I can't play it, Max. After the disappointment that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was, I can't go back to playing another Xenoblade game after what Xenoblade 2 ended up being. And if Xenoblade 3 is bad, I don't know if I could even review it. You can't even say one bad thing about the Xenoblade series, or the Xenoblade fans come after you thinking that they know everything about the series. They're all like, ooh, we have the best gaming series of all time. Look at Beat 'em Ups. He barely said anything bad. Everyone bashed him. I can't do it, Max. I can't review the game. I'm scared to play it, Max. I can't do it, man. Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Max, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was 5 years ago, dude. Listen, Xenoblade is still a great series. It was just one bad game. You love Xenoblade 1. Look at Xenoblade 3 as another attempt in the Xenoblade series. Everyone wants you to review this game, and you have sat here and done absolutely nothing. Where is the review?
Dude, I'm not playing it. Please. Please just leave me alone. I was at peace in mind until you came upstairs talking about Xenoblade 2 reminding me of my horrible memories of playing that game. I'm not reviewing it, I'm not playing it, I'm not going back there. So please, just leave me alone.
You know what? Okay, I'll leave you alone. On one condition, though. Let's fight each other. Let's do a sword fight. If I win, you have to review Xenoblade Chronicles 3 with no complaints. You're gonna beat the game and you're gonna review it for the channel because everyone wants to see it. I don't care if it's been 2 months later. There's still an audience out there that wants you to review this game.
Deal. Let's duel.
You're on. Come on, stupid thing. I don't want this to work. Hold on, I'm pulling out my sword first. Hold on. Oh, there we go. We're on. Let's go. That's what you have? You think you can beat me with some plastic lightsaber? Well, you're in for a treat. This is the Monado's power. Ah! How do you have a Monado? Okay, you win. Listen. You win. I'm not fighting you. I don't know how you have a freaking Monado, first off. Only Shulk's supposed to have that. Dude, you have a freaking Monado. You're a big Xenoblade fan. You have to review this, dude. Face your fears. Xenoblade 3, everyone loves the game. Dude, I'm done with this. You know what? No. I got the game right here for you. If you don't want to review it, I don't care. But I want this out of my hands. I'm out of here. He's right. I need to face my fears. I can't call myself a Xenoblade fan if I don't even review one of the games on my YouTube channel. People want it. It's 2 months later, but better yet than never. I want to do it. Let's go play Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Monado Max here, and today we're finally doing it. It's been almost 2 months since the game has come out, but we've finally done it. We beat Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I am surprised that I managed to do it as soon as I did because, One, I have a full-time job. Secondly, I have this secondary job, YouTube, with doing Twitch at sometimes on the side. It was very hard to do YouTube, full-time job, and play a 50-hour game all within the same timeline. But I know this review is coming out 2 months later, and I know this video is not gonna be a hit. It's not gonna do well in views, but it's very important to me to have this video on the channel, considering my name, Minato Max, Minato being from Xenoblade Chronicles. I feel like it was very important for me to have this video on my channel, as the series is very important to me. Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is one of my favorite Nintendo games, actually is my favorite Nintendo game of all time, and because of that, I needed to do this review. Now, before we get into the review, there's one thing that I want to quickly address. The skit makes it out to be that I really do not like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And while Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is not my favorite Xenoblade game, I have some problems with it. Honestly, I didn't like it that much till later in the game. That's actually part of my reason that I don't like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. A game shouldn't take me 15 hours to actually start getting interested in the story. That's what Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was for me. I just didn't like how long it took me to get interested in the story, and there's a lot of gameplay issues with the game. It's not the battle system. I know everyone points out the battle system. There's a lot of gameplay issues I have with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that I really don't like. So let's get into the review. Obviously, Xenoblade is one of my favorite Nintendo franchises of all time. So when Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was revealed in the Nintendo Direct earlier this year, I went absolutely crazy. I knew we were getting a Xenoblade Chronicles game, I just didn't know when. I knew we were due for one more on the Switch, and seeing that reveal trailer, it got me automatically excited because there was so many ways to take that trailer of what the storyline was going to be. I got super excited. There was a little fear of me playing the game because of how much I didn't like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but nonetheless I was still excited because of the constant news that was coming out with this game. I was automatically hooked. Just how I got automatically hooked onto the game's storyline. 15 minutes into the game, I will never forget this. I knew I was playing a really good game. I got hooked onto the stories. Eyes were wide open as soon as I got into the game's opening scene. I noticed a Xenoblade Chronicles 1 reference in the opening part of the game, which made me automatically knew that I was playing a good game. I'll never forget, I texted my editor, Trent, this game is already great. 15 minutes in. One of the things that this game does for me that I absolutely love is the fact that you get all 6 characters, the main cast, right in front of you, before your eyes. You get to play as them so early in the game. You don't get like, oh, you get this character, and then a few chapters later you're going to get this character, and this, and this. No, you get all of them at once. And I feel like games like Xenoblade do this all the time. It's not just Xenoblade. I know every game like Xenoblade does this. For me, I get incredibly annoyed by that. Because Xenoblade 2 is a great example. I feel like there are some characters that I should have had a greater connection with in that game, but because of their storyline being mixed in front of a bigger storyline, the mashes didn't mix well, and I wasn't interested in and didn't like them as much because they weren't with the other cast as long. With this, you get all the cast at once, so you get to see these characters developed as with the other characters that are developing along the way within the main storyline, with their storylines mixing every now and then. You get a lot of it at the very beginning in the game, and I love that because you get to see all these characters progress from the beginning to the very end of the game. You don't have to worry about some random character showing up chapter 5 and then him developing with you towards the end of the game. Everyone is all there at once, and I think that makes this game so special for storyline reasons. Everything about that just works perfect for the Xenoblade games. So one thing that is incredibly different about this Xenoblade game than the other Xenoblade games is that you have 7 playable characters all at once fighting with you in the battle system. You know, when that got announced, I was a little worried because my initial thought was, how is the Nintendo Switch going to handle this with many other fights happening at once? Because obviously when you're doing boss fights or just enemy battles, a lot of enemies can just show up at once. And with the system that the Nintendo Switch is, most of the time it can't handle that. I'm happy to tell you that this game ran perfect with all that in mind. Even with the 6 or actually 7 character battle system, it works perfect. I was quite surprised to see that. A lot of people was concerned that this was going to make the game way easier having that many characters, and the game definitely tries to do its best to balance itself. But I'm here to tell you that the game gets pretty difficult towards the mid half of the game. I will say it's pretty easy towards the beginning of the game, but I guess that's why they have an easy option within Xenoblade 3, because of the huge spike in difficulty that the game's gonna take you towards the halfway point of the game. If you want that easy mode still on, it's still there. But if you're looking for a difficult challenge and was afraid that these many playable characters at once was going to hurt the chances of it being a difficult game, don't worry. Xenoblade difficulty is still there. And if you want to go all in, then you have hard mode, which I guess is for players like you that love a challenge. One of the things that this game does very well with the 7 playable characters is that you have multiple classes that all of these characters can have. I'm saying there is tons of different classes within Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And what these classes are, it changes how your character plays. Do you want to be a healer? Your character can be a healer. Do you want to be a defender? Your character can be a defender. If you want to wield a sword and be an attacker, aggressive person, you can do that. Because of that feature, you can level up your classes and play the game in many different forms, which we talked about game difficulty. With these classes, you can play this game really difficult. You can make this a difficult challenge. You could have a whole squad of healers, a whole squad of defenders. This game has so many unique ways of playing this game because of this feature. It is really cool to have this, and very different, very unexpected from a game like Xenoblade, because you have, when I say there is so many battle classes that you can do, there is very different battle classes you can do. There is so much uniqueness to Xenoblade Chronicles 3 when it comes to the battle system because of this new feature being classes, where you can take everybody's skills, switch things out. It's perfect. I love it very much. Speaking of the battle system takes notes from Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2 and fuses them together. Obviously, Xenoblade 2's battle system is a mixed opinion around the whole Xenoblade community. There's people that really don't like it. There's people that love it. Xenoblade, or Monolith Soft, went ahead and just combined the battle system of 1 and 2, which in reality sounds like a horrible idea. And when you get to use this battle system, I will say I got annoyed with it, actually more than Xenoblade 2. But then once I got through a few battles without the tutorial system being there, I actually loved this battle system a lot. I think this is probably my favorite battle system in the Xenoblade history because it just mixes well together. And I want to talk about chain attacks. I feel like the last 2 Xenoblade games have made chain attacks so confusing, at least in my opinion. I think 1 explains it way better, but 2 absolutely, for me, I got confused by chain attacks so much. I asked my friends, I was like, do you guys understand the chain attack system? And 2, they would tell me, not really. With 3, you're able to understand the chain attack system very fast. It's very simple and very unique and very easy to just keep going and going. There's a lot of cool strategic moves that you can do to continue the cycle to making the most damage possible. The chain attack system, I feel like, can be pretty overpowered, as I was able to get a lot of experience points just off the battle system. I would not have as much of a leveled up team if it wasn't for the chain attack system, because when you defeat an enemy, you get XP bonus. XP bonus for days, I must say. And not to mention, if you have a chain attack that goes for so long, just like the previous games, you do more damage. And with this, I took advantage of that real fast. So with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I was very surprised how well this game looked on the Nintendo Switch. I felt like Luigi's Mansion 3 is probably the best looking Nintendo Switch game out there, especially coming from Nintendo. I think that is definitely the best looking Switch game. However, playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I feel like this potentially could be the best looking Nintendo Switch game out there. Monolith Soft did such a good job with this game, not to mention considering the history between Xenoblade and the previous games on the Nintendo Switch, not looking the greatest on Switch. You know, there were some people saying that Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition should have looked way better. There was people complaining about how Xenoblade was dropping resolution for whatever reason, and I'm not a game developer. It's kind of weird to me how a first-party Nintendo game was doing this, but both Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and Xenoblade Chronicles 2 would not stick to a resolution on the Switch. It would drop as low as to 240p, I believe is what I read, which is very weird on handheld mode, I must say. I'm here to say that I played a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in handheld mode, and I did play with an OLED, so it was probably hard to notice this, but I don't think the game actually dropped in handheld resolution. I think it stayed there, which that's a first for Xenoblade on the Switch. This game looked beautiful in dock mode and handheld mode. Everything about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 I loved so much. This game is definitely my game of the year, and I can't see how many other games are going to be able to take that spot for me this year. In all honesty, it's such a good game that it's close for me to say that it could be better than Xenoblade Chronicles 1, which I have right here. However, as someone that owns all the Xenoblade games and has played all of them except X, I still think Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is the best Xenoblade game. Maybe that will change in due time. I don't know. I just beat the game this week. But Xenoblade Chronicles 3 did everything that I wanted a sequel to do. I got to see references of Xenoblade Chronicles 1, characters from Xenoblade Chronicles 1. I even got to see old characters from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I saw so much of both of these games combined into 3 that I loved so much, from character development, storyline, battle system. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 did so much of this, probably better than 1. I think 1 has the best storyline, but seeing 3 be able to, spoilers ahead, but being able to see Shulk's sword towards the end of the game, and seeing how Rex, even though I don't like Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as much, I still was attached to those characters. Seeing this photo of Rex with 3 women? Dude, Rex ended up with 3 women. That is absolutely crazy to me. And this picture, Rex is just like, it's like a family photo, and they're all so chill about it. Rex had 3 different kids with all 3 of these people, and they're all just, yeah, family photo time. I don't know, that was absolutely crazy to me from just seeing that, and just the references, seeing that. I mean, Poppy being at the end of the game too, still being alive, that was crazy. Would have been cool if they actually would have brought her into the game rather than the end. Anyways, all of that was absolutely amazing to see. This game did its characters from 1 and 2 justice, and still brings a new storyline while bringing old bits of story details from 1 and 2 into one game. This game makes the worlds of 1 and 2 combine so well into 3 from a storyline perspective. It does everything well. It's a Nintendo Switch masterpiece. I gotta be honest. And if I was to complain about this game, I have 2 issues. One that I think is a pretty big issue, but it's not like gameplay groundbreaking, storyline groundbreaking. But this game, I felt like did not have as much voice acting as it should have. And the way I say that, I think the voice acting was perfect, But there was some things in that game, and I know games like this struggle through this all the time. And I know you can't voice line an entire game like Xenoblade Chronicles 3 because that would take longer for Xenoblade to come out, and it's just more paid time for the actors, all that stuff. But there were some things that I felt like shouldn't have been voice lined, and some other things that wasn't voice lined should have been voice lined. There were some important story details that happened within this game that wasn't voice lined, and some useless stuff in the game that was voice lined. I felt it was very confusing and strange that the game did that, because games like this, any important detail is typically voice lined. And I think this game had this happen a lot, where a lot of the game wasn't voice lined, and I was so confused by that. And I guess my second complaint is some of these side quests that you are forced to do to continue the main storyline of Xenoblade Chronicles 3 felt completely filler. Like, I felt like it was so unnecessary to force you to play some of these side quests because you're interested in the game's storyline. And some of it actually was important, but a majority of it wasn't. And you were focused on that rather than focused on the story when your eyes and attention so focused into the game. I feel like that definitely took apart your attention to the story. Like, it gave you a pause, if that makes sense. It was very strange to me to see the game do that. And I don't get why they were called side quests if you were forced to beat side quests to continue the story. I don't think they should have called that side quest, because that's not a side quest. That is a forced quest. That is a main story quest, is what you should have called that. With that being said, I have to give Xenoblade Chronicles 3 a 9.5 out of 10. This game is so close to being a 10 out of 10, but I think some of these side quests definitely took your attention away from some groundbreaking moments that was happening within the story. It kind of gave you a unneeded pause moment, and I think that definitely kind of messed up the game's flow a little bit. And the voice lines, those are my two only cons. I honestly can't think of another con with this game, because this game is so good. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is my game of the year, and is definitely a top 10 video game for me of all time now. And I think all of you guys should buy it. Now, I have been talking for way too much. I definitely want to know what you guys think. I want to hear everything. If you're a Xenoblade 2 fan, I want to hear it. If there's something that you agree with me on this, let me know. If you disagree with me, I want to know everything. Let's make this a debate. I love talking about Xenoblade with people. Let me know everything that you guys are feeling in the comments down below. Well guys, make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out my Twitter, check out my Twitch, check out my Discord server, check out my Instagram, and everything else that's in the description below. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Man, I am so happy to finally have this done. It's crazy to me, whenever Xenoblade Chronicles 4 comes out, I'm gonna be like a 28-year-old man. I could have kids. I might be married by then. That's absolutely crazy. I could be looking back at this review and be like, wow, I've grown with Xenoblade. As I went from a kid, to teenager, to adult, to a full-on man while playing the Xenoblade series. I progressed in life with the Xenoblade series as it came out. Wow, it's so crazy. So crazy to think.